Hitting 200% is still a failure. No bonus. That was the sentence my boss, Raymond Coyle, dropped like a hammer in the middle of our executive meeting. No build-up, no explanation, just the final blow. 8 people froze around me, stunned into silence. Someone's pen fell onto the table. Someone else whispered my name, as if waiting for me to explode. I didn't explode. I smiled. Raymond's eyes twitched when he saw that. He expected anger, maybe tears, maybe pleading. I could almost hear the thought behind his flat stare. Why isn't she reacting? He raised his voice. You heard me. All quarterly bonuses are canceled. Effective immediately. Janine shook her head in disbelief. Mike leaned back so fast his chair slammed the wall. Every single one of them had counted on that money rent, child care, medical bills, the little things that keep a family breathing. And there I sat, hands folded, calm. Raymond narrowed his eyes at me. Daisy, do you have something to say? My team worked hard, I replied, keeping my tone level. We surpassed every target, twice over. Hard work does not equal results. He shot back. That depends on which numbers you're looking at. The room went still again. Everyone understood the shift, even if they didn't know why. Because I did have something to say, something that would change everything for all of us, but I wasn't going to give it away here. Not in front of him, not where he held all the power. I pushed my chair back. Conference room. 5 minutes. Raymond let out a short, mocking laugh. Where do you think you're going to fix this? I said. He stepped forward. You fix nothing without my permission. That has never been true. I replied. For a second, something flickered across his face. Doubt, irritation, maybe fear. He followed me anyway. His ego wouldn't let him do otherwise. 5 minutes later, when my laptop screen lit up and the contract he had forgotten brightened the wall behind me, he shot to his feet and slammed the table so hard the phone rattled. Cut it. Now. But it was too late. I had already decided to use the clause he never imagined would come back to life. And nothing about this day was going to go the way he planned. Daisy, are you still at the office? My mother's voice had been thin that night, the way it got after her treatments. I remember gripping the phone tight as I stood outside the South Lake Union building, waiting for the ride share that never seemed to come on time. I just need one more call, I told her. Then I'll head back to Beacon Hill. You have been saying that for weeks, she whispered. She was right. For 12 months, everything in my life had turned into one more late shift, one more weekend lost, one more canceled holiday with my daughter Lena, one more hospital bill I paid in quiet panic at 2 a.m. Janine once caught me staring at my laptop after a 70-hour week. You look like you're about to fold, she said softly. I cannot fold. I answered her. Not until this quarter ends. That bonus is the only thing keeping half of us standing. She replied. It was true. Rent had gone up again. My mother's treatment costs had climbed into the tens of thousands. Lena's school kept sending reminders about overdue program fees. The bonus was not a luxury. It was survival. Some nights, Mike and I stayed in the conference room long after everyone left, dialing clients on opposite ends of the table. You think we can keep this pace, he asked. We do not have a choice. I told him. Other evenings, I carried Lena through the front door after a 12-hour day, and she would press her face into my shoulder. You smell like the office again, she mumbled. I know, sweetheart. I am trying. The truth was, I had started waking up before dawn with a knot in my chest, wondering if I could hold everything together another month. Every ride from Beacon Hill to South Lake Union felt like a negotiation with myself. Just get through today. Just push harder. But somewhere along the way, something inside me stopped believing that pushing harder would save us. And that was when the idea of using what I had left my contract began to take shape. 6 years earlier, I sat across from the HR manager in our old Pioneer Square office, clutching a folder like it was the only thing keeping me upright. I had been a receptionist for barely a year when she said, "Daisy, we want to move you into junior sales. The promotion comes with a new contract." I nodded, trying to look confident. Inside, I was panicking. My mother had just lost her job. Lena was barely 4. I needed every dollar I could get. "Take your time," the HR manager added. "Look it over. Sign when you are ready." I carried the contract to my cousin's apartment that night. He was a labor attorney with a reputation for catching details no one else bothered to read. He flipped through the pages. "They rewrite these things every year," he said. "Yours is one of the older templates. That is not a bad thing." "What does that mean for me?" I asked. "It means you can negotiate something bigger before they modernize it." He tapped a blank space under the performance section. "Ask for a guaranteed bonus clause. If you hit above a certain percentage and your team passes its goal, they owe you a minimum payout plus a percentage of the overage." "They will never agree to that," I whispered. "They will if they believe you will bring in revenue," he replied, "and if they do not notice its long-term value." The next morning, I walked back into HR with a steady voice I did not feel. "I want to add a performance protection clause," I said. She glanced at the page. Unusual, but not impossible. If the director signs it, it stands. The director signed it without a single question. I kept the original paper in a manila folder and a digital scan tucked deep inside a private drive. Every time I moved apartments, that folder was the first thing I packed. I never thought it would matter. But standing here now, with Raymond threatening to erase everything my team earned, that forgotten sentence from 6 years ago felt like the only shield I had left. The moment Raymond announced the canceled bonuses, something inside me snapped into place. Not anger, not panic. Resolve. I pushed back my chair and stood. Conference room. 5 minutes. My voice wasn't loud, but the team reacted instantly. Janine straightened in her seat. Mike stopped muttering under his breath. They all recognized that tone. It was the same one I used right before landing multi-million-dollar contracts, the one that meant I had decided the outcome before anyone else knew what it was. Raymond let out a short, condescending laugh. "Is that an order now?" "It is an invitation," I said. "You should come. I do not take instructions from you." "You do not have to," I replied, "but you will be there." He stared at me like he was trying to figure out who gave me the right to speak with that kind of certainty. His ego wouldn't let him stay behind. He finally muttered, "Fine. 5 minutes." As I turned to leave, Mike whispered, "Daisy, do you have something?" "Not something," I said quietly. "Enough." In the hallway, my hands trembled just enough that I had to tuck them behind my laptop. I kept walking. I could not show fear now, not after a year of watching my team break themselves to keep this company afloat. Inside the elevator, I opened my phone, typed a message, and hit send. Subject urgent, performance clause breach. Graham, I need you on that call. 5 minutes. Daisy Graham Whitlock, our CEO, did not attend many internal meetings, but he monitored risk like a hawk. If he read that subject line, he would join. Raymond entered the elevator behind me, still brimming with arrogance. "Whatever stunt you think you are pulling, it ends today." "I agree," I said. The doors opened to the executive floor. My heart pounded once, hard, but I kept moving. Everything I carried with me every late night, every bill, every promise to my daughter walked into that room too. One choice, made in 5 minutes, was about to change the course of our future. Raymond and I stepped into the executive conference room at the same time. I set my laptop on the table, opened it, and waited. 30 seconds later, the screen on the wall flickered alive. Daisy Graham Whitlock's voice filled the room, calm but alert. He appeared in a small video window, wearing a sweatshirt instead of a suit. "Your message sounded urgent." Raymond jumped in before I could speak. Graham, there is no emergency. Daisy is upset about the revised compensation structure. I can handle it. Graham raised an eyebrow. Then, why am I here? I clicked the trackpad. Because this is not a misunderstanding. It is a violation, Raymond scoffed. Daisy, do not embarrass yourself. I am not embarrassed. I said. I am prepared. I opened the contract PDF, dragging it to the shared screen. The title page appeared, then the date, then my signature. Graham leaned closer. Raymond took a step forward. Turn it off. I ignored him and zoomed into Section 7. My cursor highlighted the clause I had negotiated 6 years earlier. If the employee exceeds individual targets by at least 150% and the team surpasses all collective goals, a guaranteed minimum bonus plus an additional percentage of overperformance shall be paid. Graham exhaled. That is not in any current contract. Exactly. I said. Raymond slapped his hand on the table. Cut it. Now, Daisy, shut that down. Graham's tone sharpened. Raymond, why are you raising your voice? This is old paperwork, Raymond snapped. Irrelevant. She is twisting it. I am reading it. I replied, word for word. A notification pinged on the side of the screen. An email from HR confirmation. The contract is valid and binding. No amendments filed. Graham folded his arms. Raymond, we need to talk about why you attempted to suppress this. Raymond's jaw locked. My pulse pounded once, steady and certain. The truth he feared was finally out in the open. Graham's voice cut through the tension. Raymond, step out for 10 minutes. I want to speak with Daisy alone. Raymond looked stunned. You cannot be serious. I am, Graham said. Leave. Raymond stormed out, the door slamming behind him. Graham turned back to me. Start from the beginning. I took a breath. The clause is only part of the problem. What else is there? I opened a folder on my laptop. 3 months ago, you approved a team-building retreat. Raymond canceled it the next day without notifying you. Graham frowned. He said the team chose to postpone. No, I said. He cut it to redirect the budget. To what I clicked another file. His personal expenses. Dinners with friends labeled as client meetings. A weekend trip listed as a networking event. Graham's mouth tightened. How much several $1,000s? I said. He leaned back. Go on. Then the software upgrade. The sales platform that would have increased our efficiency by at least 30%. He denied it. He told me it was unnecessary. He denied it the same week he spent company funds redecorating his office. Graham shook his head slowly. This is worse than I expected. There is more, I said quietly. Messages he sent to department leads? I opened screenshots from Slack. Graham read them quickly, his jaw clenching. He asked managers to adjust reporting numbers. I said, to make budget cuts look justified. That is falsification, Graham muttered, and he pressured them. They were afraid to push back. Graham closed his eyes for a moment. This is no longer about bonuses. This is structural damage. I nodded, feeling the weight of it settle between us. He has been hiding behind policy, but the truth shows every decision for what it was. And now, Graham had to decide what to do with it. Graham opened his eyes as I pulled up one last folder on my laptop. There is something else, I said, and it is worse than the clause, worse than the numbers, worse than the expenses. He straightened. Show me. I clicked into a set of saved emails. These were not sent to me. I accessed them accidentally while searching the shared drive 3 weeks ago. I reported none of it until now because I wanted to be certain. What am I looking at? Graham asked. Messages between Raymond and Cascade Synergy. I said. The competitor in Bellevue. Graham leaned toward the screen. The first email loaded Raymond thanking an executive at Cascade Synergy for refreshing career discussions. The second showed him offering insights on our client behavior trends in exchange for a potential role in their sales division. Graham's face drained of color. That is confidential data. There is more. I opened a third email, the one that made my stomach drop the night I first saw it. Raymond had attached internal client metrics monthly performance charts, retention forecasts, everything our competitors would kill to see. This crosses into breach of duty, Graham said quietly. Possibly corporate espionage. That is why I waited. I needed it to be more than rumor or suspicion. He ran a hand over his mouth. How far does this go? I clicked another file. Our sales team is already being targeted. 3 of our top reps were approached by competitors in the last 2 weeks. They sense instability. They told you this directly. Yes, and they are close to leaving. If they go, more will follow. Graham stared at the screen. If this unravels, we lose our entire sales engine. I closed the laptop gently. That is why I brought everything today. If we keep quiet, we let him take the whole company down with him. The air in the room felt heavier as Graham realized the full scope of it, and silence was no longer an option. Raymond walked back into the conference room with the stiff posture of someone preparing for a fight. Graham's expression had changed. The easy calm from earlier was gone, replaced by something colder, heavier. "We are having a 3-way discussion," Graham said. "Sit." Raymond dropped into the chair opposite me. "This is unnecessary. She is blowing everything out of proportion." "No," Graham replied. "She is not. Daisy, present your recommendation." My hands rested on the table. They were steady now. "I want the bonuses restored," I said, "all of them. And I want additional compensation for the stress and disruption. Our team earned it." Raymond barked a laugh. "Absolutely not. You do not dictate morale policy," I continued, ignoring him. "Next, temporary removal of Raymond's financial authority. No expense approvals. No budget control. You cannot strip a vice president of authority over hearsay." Raymond snapped. "It is not hearsay," I said. "The documentation speaks for itself." Graham nodded. "Continue. Daisy. We establish transparent metrics for all future bonuses. Clear formulas. No arbitrary cuts. Everyone will know exactly where they stand before each quarter ends." Raymond leaned forward. "This is a power grab. This is structure," I answered. "And the final point Graham asked." I met both their eyes. "Appoint me as acting sales director. I will stabilize the department, protect our accounts, and prevent further damage." Raymond slammed his palm on the table. "Absolutely not. She is a mid-level employee. She is the only one who has shown me the truth." Graham cut in. "And the only one who has done her job today." Raymond froze. Graham stood. "Your arguments are invalid. An immediate internal audit begins today. Daisy, your proposal is approved in full, for the first time all day." Raymond had nothing left to say. Justice had begun its shift from confrontation to reconstruction. 2 days after the meeting, the office felt unnaturally calm. No shouting from corner offices, no abrupt policy emails, just a silence that seemed to wait for something to break. I was onboarding 2 new clients when Janine rushed into my workspace. "Daisy, they are here," she whispered. "The audit team. From the merger group." I looked up. Already they walked straight into Raymond's office with a list of everything they need. A moment later, I heard heavy footsteps in the hallway and the low, firm voices of the auditors. I stayed where I was. My job now was to keep revenue steady, not hover over the fallout. Across the floor, Mike approached me quietly. They asked for all financial logs tied to his approvals. Every single one. Graham told them. I said, "More like warned them." He replied. By midday, I saw the audit team pass my desk again, expressionless, folders thick with printed records. Raymond followed a few steps behind, pale, jaw clenched, saying nothing, not even looking at me. He disappeared into a meeting room with the auditors. The door shut. No raised voices leaked out. That silence was worse than shouting. I finished my calls, sent signed agreements to 2 new clients, and focused on stabilizing the numbers. When I stepped into the hallway, Graham was waiting. "It is done," he said. "Your vice president will not be approving anything further. He is being reassigned," where I asked quietly, "Tacoma Satellite Office. Non-decision role, no budget authority." It was not a firing, but it was an ending. Later that week, I gathered the team. "I'm starting a contract literacy group," I told them. "If anyone wants help reviewing terms, negotiating clauses, or understanding their rights, come to me. We are not going through this again." The quiet was no longer fear. It was rebuilding. 1 month later, the office felt different. Not fixed, not perfect, just steadier. Like the ground had finally stopped shaking. Our bonuses were restored, including the additional compensation Graham approved. When Mike walked over with his check, he said, "I can finally breathe again." Janine hugged me so tightly I could barely lift my arms. My own relief was quieter. Rent was secure for the next few months. My mother's treatment plan finally had room to move forward. Lena's school fees no longer kept me awake at night. Every part of my life that had been teetering felt held. Graham called me into his office near the end of the quarter. "I want you to take the senior executive role," he said. "Official title, full authority." "I appreciate it," I replied, "but that is not the direction I am going." He blinked. "You are turning it down. I want to build something different," I said. "A contract literacy program, workshops, internal mentoring, a place where employees can bring questions before they become crises. That is where I can do the most good." Graham nodded slowly. "All right. Then I support it fully." I thought that was the end of the surprises, but the audit division requested a meeting 2 days later. One of the leads said, "We are creating a new risk prevention workflow. Your documentation process is exactly what we want to build across departments. Will you help us design it?" "Yes," I said, this time without hesitation. That evening at home, Lena brought me a form for her science club. "Mom, can you help me read this? I want to know what I am signing." I pulled her onto the couch. "Of course." We always read agreements. She traced each line with her finger while I guided her through the words. She smiled when she understood them. It felt like the first brick in a new foundation, one built to last.